Hello everyone, you can see Loki just rampaging around in the distance behind me. We're in the same somewhat Wagnerian landscape as last week with the trees and everything. Appropriately, because we've just watched a film by John Boorman, who directed that almost notoriously Wagnerian film Excalibur. But the film we saw by John Boorman is even more controversial than Excalibur. It's really considered by some to be incredibly poor, and by others a masterpiece. It's a very odd film called ZARDOZ. I wonder if any of you have seen ZARDOZ, but it's not for the faint-hearted. There are scenes that are disquieting, troubling. Also troubling is the rather stagey acting and the frankly bizarre plot which drifts about. You could almost say there are amateur elements to the way that the whole film is plotted and edited. However, there are also flashes of genius, as there are in John Boorman's films. He belongs to that experimental period of British directors. Nicholas Roeg is perhaps the most famous and the finest, I would say, but Ken Russell as well, and then later on you have directors like Peter Greenaway and Derek Jarman. John Boorman sort of there in the middle. ZARDOZ is a very odd film. If you want to see Sean Connery in a kind of 1970s Mankini, a sort of weird leather strap-on Mankini with velvet high leather boots, holding a revolver for much of the film, then this is the movie you need to check out. And it is bizarre because it's full of absolutely vintage, camp 1970s elements. The 1970s do seem a very exotic realm, don't they, for people of the current generation? I mean, I can't imagine anything less like our era in a way than the 1970s. But I think the film has lots of interesting things to say, and it has some moments of cinematographic beauty. There are wonderful flashes of invention in there, if you can, trawl through it. The score is by one of my childhood heroes, David Munro, a huge figure in the British early music movement. Typically of Munro, the score is absolutely experimental, with all sorts of surprising electronic elements and curious acoustic effects. And the main musical motif is the wonderful A minor allegretto, the famous dum 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 of Beethoven's 7th Symphony. I mean, there is no more famous piece of Beethoven, really, is there? And he uses it typically in a very surprising way. There's a consort of viols playing it at one point. It's really unusual. So check out ZARDOZ and let me know what you think of it.